Alright, so today is a Sagittarius full moon. I'm going to do tarot reading for the energies that are present. I'm going to do my elemental spread. I can't call it mine. My wonderful doula and close friend, Christina, created this spread, I believe, and shared it with me, and it is my go-to spread now. It just speaks really cleanly and clearly to me, and I'm just able to read it really well. Using the Wild Unknown tarot deck. Again, a deck that is nature-based and speaks deeply to me. Been reading tarot for over half my life now, and it wasn't until I got this deck that I felt like I could actually read. So the importance of finding a deck that clicks with you, that you have a connection with, is just really, really can kind of make or break your experience. So yeah. Sagittarius is a fire sign, and on top of this being a Sagittarius full moon, there is also Jupiter that's going direct today, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So this really philosophical, lucky, driven energy is very, very present right now. So I'm just going to go into the reading. Okay, the energies that are present. At the center of everything right now is the Hierophant, who is the spiritual teacher, and that is perfect for Sagittarius because Sagittarius is all about philosophy and learning traditions far and wide. They're very into culture and they're very into tradition and culture worldwide. They are they like to learn a lot. So let's see. With this fiery energy, there is also, so on one hand we have this energy that is very deep and wants to learn and master traditions, and on the other hand, on the other side of Sagittarius, is the Son of Wands, which is a very tricky, charming, elusive energy. So they're really great at, the Sagittarian energy brings up, like I said, on the one hand the teacher who wants to dive deep and look at traditions and culture and why things are the way they are. And then there's also this Son of Wands energy, which is very charming and charismatic and adventurous and loves to travel far and wide. But you also have to be careful and trust your instincts with the people that you're meeting right now, because what they show up to be on the surface may not be who they truly are underneath. The Sagittarian energy is really good at putting their best foot forward, and especially with this Jupiter energy going direct, like, we're going to show up in our most bright, charismatic, playful self. Even if that's not who we are all the time. Mentally, there's a lot of discord happening in the mental space right now. As a collective, there is this heavy burden in our collective psyche, because we have, I feel like we've officially moved out of third dimensional existence, and we are fully in fifth dimensional existence. We have fully crossed over into what some might call Christ consciousness. I call it 5D or fifth dimension because that's what resonates with me. But it's this idea of, like, we have instant manifestation. Our thoughts are literally creating our reality, and right now our thoughts are really discordant. So these are the two cards that were pulled for the mental energy in the collective right now. Burden, heaviness, fear-based thinking. This is what's being eradicated. So the Ten of Wands totally speaks to that negativity pattern and that fear-based thinking. And the Three of Swords is divorcing that old thought pattern, that old way of viewing everything from this fear-based lens. We get to really come together as a spiritual community to help climb over this mountain of negative thoughts. Collectively, we are so ready to shift this, and the only way we're going to shift it is by coming together. And by coming together, right, we're banding together in our communities. 3 is the number of community, to overcome this burden, this mountain. And what needs to be healed is our divine masculine. I feel like there's been so much divine feminine work going on the planet, and it excites me, and it's so beautiful, and it's laid the groundwork for men to start embracing their own divine feminine so they can come into their divine masculine, and women have done their divine feminine healing so that they can start to look at their divine masculine wounds. So we really get to work on our masculine side now, to bring it into balance, because we're not trying to swing from a patriarchal society into a matriarchal society. We're trying to come back to center, to wholeness, to oneness. In our physical reality, there's a lot of sensitivity right now, especially around that divine masculine wound, and it's a time for pausing. This is a very scattered energy. We're not really sure what to do because we're moving. We're not really sure where to go and how to channel this energy because there's so much work to be done, which is why we have to come together to do this work. So really strengthening your community, both personally and worldwide. Really strengthening that sense of connection, that we are not separate, that while we are individual expressions of the divine energy, we are still all divine energy. And so we get to pause and reflect on that and pull our scattered energy back into ourselves, remembering that everything we see outside of ourselves is a reflection of our own inner world. So if your world is feeling chaotic, if you're feeling scattered, if this fiery Sagittarian energy is making you feel like you want to go in 1,000 directions, it's because your internal compass hasn't been calibrated. So it's time to come back in and find your true north. And a great way to do this right now is to give yourself permission to have emotional expression. So whether this is through art or music, whether this is through dancing, find some emotional outlet for yourself. And also, as your insecurities arise, because they will, our shadow work will come up right now, especially. And that's another thing this Father of Cups represents, is our deepest insecurities. Our deepest insecurities and the way we process those and the way we work with those. So it's going to come up, and when it does, embrace it, hold it, give it permission to be. You're not wrong for having insecurities. We all have our wounding, we all have our struggles, we all have our battles. Finding your community who can hold you in that space, who can hold space for you while you're falling apart, because that's the natural ebb and flow of life, and our culture today doesn't really give space to that. It's like, be happy all the time and everything should be good and positive, and that's not life. That's not the human experience. If we wanted to stay in a place where everything was wonderful and blissful all the time, we would have stayed as spirits and not come into earth for this human experience. Okay, so now in our emotional space is the Three of Wands crossed by the Daughter of Cups. So this is, to me, this is saying that we have this beautiful vision of the future of us all coming back together. It's interesting that in our masculine and feminine spaces there are both threes. The Three of rounded energy of the community coming together to overcome its battles. And then in the feminine side, the 3 of this spiritual energy coming together to hold a higher vision. So while we're going through this masculine work, it is really imperative that we embrace and acknowledge and find space for the innocence of our feminine side. So while we've done a lot of divine feminine healing, we can't just drop that ball to go work on the masculine. We have to now juggle them. And this too is speaking again to just like really giving yourself permission to feel your emotions. A close friend of mine said to me yesterday that emotions are here to teach us. They are our teachers and our masters. So when you have an intense emotional response arise, sit with it. Look at it as if it is your spiritual teacher, the heart of the matter, right? Your emotions are your spiritual teachers. They tell you what in your environment is working for you, what's not working for you. They are your compass. So where you need to recalibrate your compass, where you're feeling all this scattered energy, come back to your heart, come back to your center, come back to your emotions, and be present with them. To me, the 3 of Wands is the vision of a world where all emotions and all beings are accepted as divine expression. So yeah, those are the energies I'm seeing present with the Sagittarius full moon. There is a lot going on. This was a big week. There were a lot of planetary shifts this week. Mars went into Cancer, I think at the very beginning of the week. Venus then moved into Taurus, which is a home sign. Later that day, Mercury moved into Gemini, which is its home sign. And then today we have the full moon in Sagittarius and Jupiter going direct after a retrograde. So if you want more on that, I will post some links below on some really wonderful astrological insights. And let me know what you think about the tarot reading in the comments below. And make sure you hit subscribe or follow me on Facebook if you like what you're seeing. I do these every 2 weeks, one on the new moon and one on the full moon. And I'm going to continue doing more tarot work. So let me know what you think.